Hello, everyone. This is Mike. Welcome to the meeting for the Villages Democratic Club for Saturday. Rick, why don't you start the recording?
It started.
Very good. Hi, everyone. We're going to start a recording up. Amy, why don't you spin that thing up?
All right. Could you maybe at some point just like curse or say something completely Looney Tunes or offensive? The other guy used to do that, and it just made this whole thing a little funnier. I'm just trying to work with you here.
We're live in 3, 2.
Welcome back. I'm joined now by a man some people believe is the President of the United States, Joseph Robinette Biden. Robinette?
Yes.
Don't even have to write a joke about that. Joe, can I call you Joe?
No.
Girl, we have a lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about.
As the coronavirus continues to wreak havoc, Americans are getting restless and frustrated, if you know what I mean.
One of the disappointments when we came into office is the circumstance relating to how the administration was handling COVID was even more dire than we thought. We thought they indicated there was a lot more vaccine available, and it didn't turn out to be the case.
Because we're doing so much testing.
Huh? Oh, excuse me, I think I must have fallen
You don't ask Biden tough questions.
Ha! Oh, I'm sorry. You know, I'm still having flashbacks. Sometimes he visits me in my dreams.
So we're pushing as hard as we can to get more vaccine manufactured.
You now say we'll have enough supply for every adult to be vaccinated by May. Does this mean I can go to Cancun for spring break with Ted Cruz and the gals?
Well, I didn't say that.
Mr. Biden, bring my vaccine. Keep me protected from COVID-19. Tell me the trick to how I might earn a fix of that magic Pfizer or Moderna. Biden, give me a poke. They call you sleepy, but you're pretty woke. I'm so tired of quarantine. Mr. Biden, bring my vaccine. Please bring me joy. Hey, Joe Biden, where's my vaccine? I need a rollout that's good for a queen. Grab your syringe, but make sure you clean it. And stick it in me like you really mean it. Biden, hey, Mr. Biden, I'm not afraid. Yeah, I'm really not afraid. Inoculate me so I can get laid. Give it to me now. I don't mean to sound absurd, crazy, but I want my freaking vaccine. Ladies and gentlemen, the Robinettes. Oh, won't you stay? I'm numb. My hat. Oh, I see. Please, Mr. Biden.
Yes.
Bring my vaccine. I want to trick or treat when we hit Halloween. Give me that double dose and make me go out cheap, so I can plant a kiss on Dr. Fauci. Oh, Mr. Biden, kick up a notch, 'cause I've run out of Netflix movies to watch. Girl, I'm so tired of quarantine. Mr. Biden, bring us, please, 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 Mr. Biden, bring my vaccine. Test one's telling me break so we can freaking leave the house. Robinette.
We're going to take a moment of silence. Welcome, everybody, to the Villages Democratic Club April meeting. And this is spring break virtual meeting at the beach. You can see a lot of us waving. Thanks for joining today. Okay, you can move that on. I'm Mike Falk. I'm the newly elected club president, and I'm following a pretty hard act. I always said that it was like the quarterback following Tom Brady, and I don't know if Chris is on here, but we appreciate all of her efforts and all the efforts of the past board for making this successful. And our goal is to keep these meetings interesting and keep everyone engaged. So here we go. So know that if you need the some of these screenshots are going to come up here, and a good way to know what's on here, that this slide or this presentation is going to be posted on the website. But if you want to know, there might be phone numbers or something like that on there. So just take a picture of that slide with your phone, and then you'll have it. So Pam Keith is she does Fight for Florida's Future, and Pam is aspiring to be our next Stacey Abrams, the Florida Stacey Abrams. And please join, if you've got the time, please join Pam Keith, an activist from all over the area, at 7 p.m. on April 13th. That's going to be a Zoom. We're going to get you that Zoom meeting. It'll be on the Buzz Club website and Facebook. And the goal is to turn Florida blue in 2022. There's also Nikki Fried's going to be talking on May 29th, and there'll be a link for that also on the website. April 22nd is Earth Day, Central Florida Earth Day 2021. I remember when I was a kid, this was all pretty important. I know that under the Republican administration, they think that Mother Earth is always going to be here, even if we abuse it. So it's good to know that that we're still thinking the way for Earth Day. Today's National Farm Animal Day. It's
we got a little video here.
A little video here.
Just showing some happy animals.
I'm from the city, so I don't know much about farms, but I've heard there are things called farms, and that milk doesn't really start out in containers. So it's a little. I always get a lot of grief from that. My wife's have relatives in Wisconsin who are farmers, and they always think it's pretty funny that I'm so ill-informed about farms, but that's the way it is. Okay, this is April 10th, National Encourage a Democrat Writer Day. So you can imagine that be totally different than what we'd have on the other side of the aisle, the different writers. So participating and getting views out there that are different than some of the mainstream media stuff. Okay, thanks for that. I know there's a lot of stuff going on with this HR 1 for the People Act. That some of the measures, it was approved by the House and it's sitting in the Senate. I don't know where it's going to go in the Senate. I'm not sure anyone knows. I'm not sure Manchin and Sinema really are Democrats, so I don't know what they're thinking of. But some of the measures include automatic same-day registration, which should be limits removing voters from voter rolls. What's interesting with that is that in, I believe it was Wisconsin, the Wisconsin Supreme Court voted 7-2 to deny the legislature removing a bunch of voters from the voter rolls. this addresses congressional redistricting, meaning gerrymandering, put some money into cybersecurity for election systems, and requires a president and vice president to disclose 10 years of tax returns. And you know what? I don't know why anyone would have an issue with that, because it's nice to know who can reach out and touch your elected officials. I think they ought to require everyone that's running for any of these offices to disclose what their, what their conflicts of interest are, but that probably won't happen. But I don't know a whole lot about this other than I know that I'm for it, and I think all Democrats are for it. I know that they're like, but when Trump came out and said that Republicans will never get elected again, well, that's probably because they would actually have to listen to their constituents and actually vote for how their constituents want them to vote, and put in measures that are important to them. So anyway, you'll hear about this on the news. I don't really have any other information other than that. I Googled it and I got Wikipedia, and there's a big write-up on it. I won't share that, but you can certainly look at that if you're interested. It's 100. I'm sure it's 100 and some pages long, or 800 pages long. I'm not sure, but that's about all I have on that. This Florida House Bill 5 is it sounds real benign, like, revises social studies high school graduation credit requirement, requires integrated civic education curriculum, and the key is to meet certain requirements. And if you think about brainwashing or propaganda, whatever that could be, is that it'll control who taught at the colleges, what the course content would be. So it wouldn't be like, I think that I've heard some of the criticism of this is because it's people, kids go to college, get a college education, and it turns out that they turn out to be have a liberal slant. Well, maybe it's because they learn how to critically think. Maybe they are in a more diverse environment, and they actually hear different views, so they can actually learn things that out of a homogenous vacuum. So their message was no brainwashing, but they don't want to include any political philosophies different from their own. And I think that when they put these benign words in there, like certain requirements, it's like, whose certain requirements? That's going to be, is that going to be yours or mine, or is that going to be who knows, Gates's, or whoever? I mention him just because because he's kind of a weirdo. Keep it kind of my benign words. So I know what Anna Eskamani has been mentioned, that she's doing to not promote any of this stuff. So I think our elected officials will have to make it known as to how much to push back on this. But it's really kind of I think it's scary. And I think back on 40 years ago when Reagan was president, and it really started dumbing down the electorate, and I think we've seen the results of that. So anyway, enough said on that. I'm open to questions on that later. If you want to talk about it, I can come up with my own opinions, but I'll admit I haven't followed this much other than what I've seen in the main news. Okay, thanks, Amy. And that gets to the Gates and more. And I've got this, he's been in the news. He's implicated in what appears to be a significant sex scandal involving underage girls. And this slide really isn't only about Gates. I could rename this title of this slide. Maybe it could be renaming the GOP to the Grand Hypocrisy Party. And there's hundreds of examples. And, there's pretty much crickets from the GHP on Gates, but they can't quit talking about Cuomo. They certainly couldn't quit talking about Bill Clinton. They impeached him for that kind of stuff, and Al Franken was left the Senate because of allegations before he was even a senator. The GHP, they take credit for stimulus money they voted against. My God. And, they voted against the stuff and they're trying to take credit for it. And they did the same thing for when the Affordable Care Act came in. So debt and deficits didn't matter under 45, but now they do. And we knew that would happen. And then the narrative that the voting suppression bills make voting easier. And there's hundreds of these examples out there. In fact, a lot of stuff I would used to post, I would just under the comments for when I post on Facebook, I'd say, this is another one for the hypocrisy file, but I could put that stuff out there daily. So anyway, I don't know where this is going. I don't anticipate Gates doing anything other than this seems to be a good, this seems to be a badge of honor with these cats. So I think it's, who knows, we'll have to buy popcorn and watch it happen, I guess. So I don't really have anything else to say on that. Thank you.
Howdy, folks. Brian Kemp, the governor of Georgia, signed a new voter suppression law into effect yesterday. Pretty proud, he was able to become governor by purging the voter rolls of about 500,000 citizens. And now he's continuing that kind of proud racist tradition down there in Georgia. So a little song for him. Brian Kemp, Jim Crow, Brian Kemp, Jim Crow, Brian Kemp, Jim Crow, that's about all you need to know. Brian Kemp, Jim Crow, Brian Kemp, Jim Crow. Georgia chose to go back a century or so in fear that black and poor folks might be voting. Republicans in Georgia had a plan to make it hard as hell, but it's worth noting. To do so, they were counting on one man. Brian Kemp, Jim Crow, Brian Kemp, Jim Crow. Georgia stooped as low as a state could ever go. Brian Kemp, Jim Crow, Brian Kemp, Jim Crow. Kemp's not scared to go where the honorable won't go. Republicans were mad at Stacey Abrams. They felt the need to put her in her place by making laws aimed at voter suppression. Laws tailored just for one specific race. Brian Kemp, Jim Crow, Brian Kemp, Jim Crow. Georgia's racist show has now hit a new plateau. Brian Kemp, Jim Crow, Brian Kemp, Jim Crow. A new law apropos of a time long, long ago. Kemp knew to sign a law like this was shameful. He gathered nice white folks to see it done. Few would have been so bold as to bring back Jim Crow, but Brian Kemp has proved that he is one. Brian Kemp, Jim Crow, Brian Kemp, Jim Crow. Racists don't lay low down in Georgia anymore. Brian Kemp, Jim Crow, Brian Kemp, Jim Crow. Thought you all should know Georgia's bringing back Jim Crow. Pretty damn shameful, I'd say. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, Amy, for finding that and sharing that. Will you let's share that video or the link for that video on either maybe the website or on the chat link. Someone asked for that. The Jim Crow 2.0 backlash, it's like I know some companies have left there and stuff. I'm not sure exactly how much impact that has, but I think that it sends a message. They were a little slow in acting. Delta Delta and Home Depot especially, and then Coke. But, it's that I don't, they could say that anything they want on this stuff, but, the illegal to give water to people waiting in line, water, food, that's kind of like, why would you do that? And they really can't explain it. They go, well, it's not soliciting or something, but I have no, they could twist themselves into political pretzels trying to explain this stuff. So, and I know that Florida flipped to, or, it used to be a 1% state, and now I think it was 3.5% moved to the 3.5% red, and so DeSantis is endorsed, and with the legislature to actually restrict more voting down here, and so it's banning ballot drop boxes, purge vote by mail enrollment, vote by mail enrollment, prohibit anyone except direct family member from dropping out ballots. I wonder how that's going to work for nursing homes. I mean, it's like, come on. And then vote by mail registration valid for one election cycle. So I know when we do our ballots, we, check the box to say, yeah, I want it for next year. But I guess that's going to go over the wayside. And anyway, there is some pushback. We'll see where it is. But knowing what happens down here, I'm not confident that something of this will happen here. And I don't know how it's going to affect the villages, because we're kind of it's pretty easy to vote here in the villages. There isn't a lot of pushback here and that stuff. But we'll have to see. I think it's and I think 43 states have put in voter suppression laws. So, or bills anyway, maybe not the laws yet, but the bills. So, thanks for that, Amy. COVID-19, these are the stats through February 15th. That's the 2 weeks. Total cases, 81,881 and change, and then 2,000 deaths. I know that the latest for today, I did some searching on this, is it's total cases over the last year. So we'll say it's basically was last March is when this started in really kind of when it really started heating up. And we've had 2.1 million cases and 86,000, or I don't know how many deaths, but it looks like that's about 10% of the population. There's about 22 million people down there in Florida. So over a year, 10% of the population has contracted this. And I'm not sure if those statistics are right or not, because there's been a lot of controversy with DeSantis kind of hiding and what to count, what not to count. So it might be real, it might not be real, but even with what's reported, 10% of the people in the state have contracted COVID. So it's not going away. I know a lot of people are sick of it. A lot of people are, if you go to the squares, you'll see people are having a real hard time wearing masks down there too. So thanks for that, Amy. Okay, I figured we've got a little time, and figured we'd open this up to any questions about the club, anything in general. And how this will work is, if you want to, if you have a question, put it into the chat window and we'll monitor that, and we'll try to answer that or find someone, or if you got a comment, something like that. I know I do have an update on it was shared on me with the chat, was find it here. The Nikki Fried event is a Lake County Dems fundraiser, and you're going to need to donate to them before they'll send you the Zoom link. So I don't know if that's a minimum, probably ask for $5 or whatever. So that, I didn't realize that before when we put that in there, but know that if you contribute to them, they'll let you sit in there with Nikki Fried. I know she's talked about being a candidate for governor against DeSantis. So, we'll open up to questions anyone has on the chat window. Shirley's asking about meeting in person. So I know that some of the rec centers and some of the places are opening up in May, and I'm going to find out as to when we can start to meet in person. I'd like to get going. I know that I don't know what the restrictions are going to be. It probably won't be 408 people, I can tell you that. And but it'd be good to get back together. It's kind of like I know we've lost I think we lose something over the, with the Zoom meetings, it just doesn't seem to be the same. So we had one here, Bob Berg from Sumter, speak a little bit about the possibility of Sumter joining Citrus. Why is that, Bob? Maybe unmute Bob and he could ask about that. I don't know where Citrus is compared to Sumter. I'm not from here.
Citrus is right next door, according to what the Solar United Neighbors were talking about. Citrus currently has something about their open solicitation of bidding. So if they could talk a little bit about that.
Okay, well, I'm not sure that, I think that probably Heaven is gone.
Yeah, I think she left. Of course,
yeah, so any of this would probably have to put together a bunch of questions and send to her email. And I've often thought of this, that you'd think that there'd be a big solar push down here because, I mean, it's constantly sunny down here, here in Arizona and California and stuff. So you'd think that it'd be ripe for it, but like Amy was talking about, there's always a pushback from the power companies that they don't want to lose any of their revenue. And Dennis, thoughts on meeting at Colony? I've got a contact at Colony. I'm gonna talk to him, find out when they're gonna open up for one, and what we can expect. I don't want to lose our spot. I don't think that's an issue right now, but if we don't meet in person, I want to know what their rules are, because if we end up not going, if it's open and we don't have an in-person meeting, I don't want to lose our reservation for meeting at Colony. Question here, hauling solar panels last. I know a lot of people have questions on that stuff, and I think that Amy, that we'll just need to find that link. I know that Heaven put that link out on in the chat window. And looks like flight team at solarunitedneighbors.org. Feel free to reach out with any questions. And then Sandy, okay, it says electric company for Sumter charges $1 a day connection fee, even to generate more power. The bill is always over $30. Okay. Yeah, I would expect they're trying to, keep their impact, keep their money flowing into them. I've often thought that, it's always good to talk about how, what the Villages Democratic Club does for our constituents. And I'm curious to hear from everybody, our constituents, the people on this meeting, and also the people that aren't on this meeting, what do you hope, where would you like to see the club go? Do you want to see different speakers? Any of that type of stuff, let us know. And, cause I want to hear from you, and I know the members of the board want to hear from you are are you happy with what we do? Or are you not happy? You know, we don't really send out surveys, but it's always good to know how we're doing. And with me being new in this role, it's good that I hear good, bad, indifferent, whatever. You know, it could be anything. Could be, you know, that I want to see more different speakers. I want to see less political stuff. I want to see more human interest stuff. Whatever. I want to, you know, make them shorter. I don't want to hear fog drone on and off key all the time. So any of that stuff is okay.
There we go.
Okay, Mike.
Hi,
So,
Julie.
hi there. So, if people have questions that you want them to, or suggestions you want them to connect with you directly.
I guess they could. Sure. And my email's on the website.
Okay. Just want to make sure people know how to get in touch with you.
Sure.
You know,
And you know, they don't have to contact me. They could contact you or
all.
anybody else that you know they're comfortable with. And
Okay.
just to, I guess my idea is to just you know to hear from our constituents and I know I refer to everyone here in the club as a constituents, but really we're here because of our members. I mean, there's 1,000 of us. I don't expect to get 1,000 responses, but you know, it'd be nice to hear from somebody say I like that or I don't like that. What worked, what didn't, what does work, and I owe
Exactly.
And one of my takeaways will be to find out when we can and when we're gonna start to meet in person. And that'll be a challenge for the board for us folks to say, okay, when can we meet? When's that gonna start? And how big is it gonna be? And then going forward on what our what our plan is and who our speakers are and how that's all gonna work. So, you know, it's just like we're starting all over again with us being off for a year. It's,
Yeah.
you know, we're starting from ground zero. Thanks, Shirley. Okay, everyone, we'll see you all next month. I like that one in the middle on the right side is pretty good. The one above it I don't like so good.
This is the one with his face covered is the best.
I know. It's like,
So.
yeah, well, he needed that for when he was looking at the solar eclipse, you know. It's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, everybody, have a great
thank you.
rest of your day. We'll give you 7 minutes back of your time. So, have a great day. We'll see you next month.